At the workshop, we had learned a lot about the nuts and bolts of resisting taxes. That afternoon, Susan took us back to the East Bay so we could meet with an activist who is responsible for the largest single act of war tax resistance in history, over $150,000 withheld from the IRS. Her name is Julia Butterfly Hill, and she became famous in the late 90s for sitting in a redwood tree in Northern California for over 2 years in order to save an old-growth grove from logging. After the success of that campaign, she was involved with a lawsuit that won her quite a large amount of money.
I had sued 3 corporations because they stole my image to sell products, and I don't endorse products. I don't know, 3 months or so before we settled, I found out that the United States government wanted a percentage of that, even though I was giving away 100%. And I was really struggling with it, and then leading up to the invasion in Iraq, I was part of the hundreds of thousands in downtown San Francisco helping shut down the financial district. And I just got this pit in my stomach, and I actually started to cry because I thought about all the people who are out there for the day financially feeding the very same system they were out there protesting. And I thought, you know, we get out here in the streets, we make our big brouhaha, we go home, we click the remote, and we complain that our country hasn't changed very much and that the media is not portraying us the way that we want. And partly it's because we feed the same system we complain against through our money. And I just realized I could not, in clear conscience, give a penny of the money from the lawsuit to the IRS and to the United States government. So I made the choice that I was going to become a war tax resistor, and then I began doing lots of research, talking with various people who've been a part of the movement, learning from them and their experiences, what's worked, where have the challenges been, talked to legal advice, trying to figure out how to set up my life in such a way that I could continue to generate income and contribute it to the issues and the organizations that I care about, and continue to live and survive in this country. And so that's actually what began the process of becoming a war tax resistor. When I wrote the letter to the IRS, when I filed my taxes, I said, this is how much you say that I owe. It was, at that point, it was somewhere like $150,000, $175,000 from this one settlement. I said, you know, I'm not refusing to pay my taxes, I'm redirecting my taxes. Because I know that the good we could do collectively with our money could be so incredible. And likewise, the opposite is true. The horrific things that we're doing with our money breaks my heart and goes against my conscience. So I cannot, in good conscience, pay you this money. But just know that I'm paying the money where our taxes should go. And at any time that you decide to put our money there, I'll be happy to start paying my taxes again. I've done a few things to be able to continue to be a war resistor. And I've done a lot of things in my life to simplify my life so that I can live below the line of attack. And so far, that seems to be working.
So do you still file every year?
I do file. Because I've been earning below poverty line, it's just a zero anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But it's just to keep showing them, look, again, just kind of having my opportunity to restate my truth year after year, and I send them a letter year after year with, you know, you say I owe this much, and I would be excited to pay my taxes if they went to these kind of causes that I currently support. So that's the path that I've chosen to take. Some people choose not to file, and I totally honor and understand that too. And but I've just chosen to file, and gives me a chance to keep reminding them what I think about what they're currently doing with our money and what I'd like them to do with our money.
I personally see myself as an activist that wants to not pay that doesn't, you know, want to support the war through paying taxes. But I also have this idea of being a doctor, right? And so I don't know, and maybe not making underneath the poverty line.
The greatest changes in history have only come when people are willing to put everything on the line. And in America, we are kept so comfortably numb. And we are a country of addicts, and we are addicted to our comfort. And even those of us who really want to see great change and see a great difference made struggle with, but I want my comfort. And then you combine that with weighing you know, what is it I want to do in the world? If I take a certain stand, these are the possible repercussions. How does that equal out in what I want to do in the world? I mean, there's a lot at stake. And it's a hard thing to look at. I'm not saying it's easy. I want to live in a world that works for all. And activism for me is not just about a checklist. It's about my heart, my soul, my spirit, crying out for a world that is peaceful and just and beautiful and healthy for everyone, not just for the certain people who can afford it. And because of that, I'm willing to take those risks. It's a risk that I pray that more and more people will take, because we can protest all we want. We can try and heal all we want. We can do all those things that we think of as activism, and as long as we're feeding the destruction of what it is we care about, it's like the difference between Western medicine and holistic health. Are we just going to keep trying to apply Band-Aids, or are we going to get to work at healing from the inside out and the ground up?
But do you feel that we're at a point where everyone's willing to do it, or are we still pretty muddled and apathetic? And I just wonder what you think, because I know what I think.
And what do you think?
But I don't feel like we're there yet, but then at the same time, it seems, I have seen this, it's like pick up more and more, and that there seems to be greater numbers of people who are ready to see something change, and they're willing to do something about it more. And so, what do you think about that?
The only change that exists in the world exists in me first. And so I just keep showing up and trying to live a life that inspires others to be willing to take risk, not out of what I call granolier than thou, you know? Like, I don't play that way. I don't play that game of like, let's take notes and compare and see who's the coolest activist, you know, who's giving up the most, who's risking the most. But rather, like, if I'm willing to take risks in my life and come at it from a place of love and joy and commitment to standing in my power and inviting others to do the same, how many people can rise up under that banner? And that's been almost 5 years, and I'm here smiling and happy about my choice and encouraging as many people as possible to take the choice, because it is a powerful call to action, regardless of where it leads you. Being willing to jump off that cliff and trust that it will unfold is a really empowering thing to do.